Mines here in South Africa. I don't know of many people who support the view in terms of opposition parties, in terms of nationalising the mines. Many people thinking this is going to destroy mining in South Africa. You, however, have a completely different angle that you're coming in on. Talk to us about mining.
Now look, already mining is diminishing in South Africa currently because the state has not led a process that leads to beneficiation and industrialization of minerals. It has just been extraction of raw minerals from beneath South Africa's soil and taking them to other parts of the world and everything else. So we're basically making other parts of the world richer because of our mineral resources. And you must remember that South Africa has got the most reserves in terms of mineral resources. We're the biggest producers of platinum group metals, of gold, of all the necessary industrial and precious metals and minerals. But those are not adding value into South African economy now. I was saying earlier that mining as a whole only contributes 25 billion to the national fiscus of 1 trillion rands, and the GDP contribution as well is less than 10%. Why is that the case? Is because there is no strategic guidance given to the mining sector as a whole. That is why we're saying that we need to own the natural resources, the minerals themselves, so that we can open up space for massive beneficiation and industrialization. That is going to lead to many jobs being created in the South African economy, but also it's going to increase the fiscal contribution of mining into the national budget on an annual basis. Look what happened now recently. Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa because of natural resources, oil, right? Because they've been able to redirect the oil usages for the benefit of their own economy. South Africa's minerals have been a cause of initially development, but now it's a cause of starvation of many people. If you go to the mine workers in the platinum belt, everywhere else, even here next to where we are now in Cullinan, if you go to where the mine workers stay, you'll see the conditions of the mine workers. If you go and check the conditions of the mine workers, the ex-mine workers in the Eastern Cape, they're living under very terrible conditions, most of them with diseases that they contracted when they were working in the mines. And we've had a crisis of mining that is causing diseases, environmental degradation, and a variety of other wrong things. And these are resources that can be depleted. So it is high time now that South Africa must take ownership and control of its own mineral resources and make sure that we have value out of this. Johannesburg was built out of the discovery of gold. Why can't we build another city in Rustenburg out of the platinum, and Sekhukhune and Witbank and Velkom out of the mineral resources that are there? Okay. And then we are going to reduce the population side in Gauteng and not hope that we are going to reduce congestion by e-tolls and everything else. We can reduce population of Gauteng by making sure that other parts of South Africa are industrially developed and as many people as possible get job opportunities from where they come from. And that is what is our position as EFF, that we need to take strategic ownership and control of our mineral resources in order to beneficiate and industrialize to create millions of sustainable jobs.
Okay. Thank you, EFF. Freedom Front Plus.
Well, we believe that a beneficiation must take place, and there must also be industrialization of our resources in South Africa. So Floyd is correct in that regard, but it must be done on the back of private enterprise. Government can't run mines. We've seen that with Alex Core already. It's a diamond mining company, is constantly bankrupt and must be bankrolled by the taxpayers. Yeah. So it's not government's place to run mines. It must be based on the private enterprise, but it must be properly regulated, and it must be regulated in such a way that the workers are also protected, that they have decent jobs, decent living conditions, working conditions, as well as salaries, so that we don't have another Marikana going forward.
Yeah, right. Cope?
Firstly, we want to say that the people of South Africa actually own the minerals of this country, and the custodian of the minerals is the Department of Minerals. What people have are mining rights to go and mine those minerals and so forth and so on. As a Congress of the People, we believe that mining is one of the most important sectors of our economy, but we have seen a decline in the recent past. So what needs to happen is that we need to refocus in mining, because it can assist in restructuring the economy of the country. Like Floyd has already said, if there are mines in Limpopo, why are we still having people from Limpopo flocking to Johannesburg? I think this thing of urbanization and running an economy that is based only on services is killing the country and is not stopping, is not assisting in dealing with unemployment in the country. We need to go back into mining. We need also to go back into agriculture so that we can restructure the economy of the country. We need to make sure that Rustenburg becomes another big employer, just like Johannesburg, because Johannesburg has been established on the backbone of mining. So that is what we need to do. However, we don't believe that we need to nationalize the mines. We believe that that can be done better by the private sector, because the two mining companies that the state owns currently are not actually doing very well.
Okay, all right. DA, your perspective?
No, thanks. When it comes to mining, obvious the mining needs to be properly regulated, and we also don't believe that the state needs to focus their energies on owning mines, because the minerals, they are owned by the people of South Africa. Companies have got mining rights. If we properly regulate and ensure that the workers' rights are protected, and also the rights of smaller unions in the mining industry, that they are taken serious and their issues are being addressed, and not only look at the bigger unions in the mining industry, but with proper regulation and the government that pays enough attention in terms of what's happening there, I believe a lot can be achieved. Because at some point we have to say, if the mine is owned by person A, who's Floyd, and person B, who's Khotsienso, is a private enterprise, and Floyd is a state, will the benefits that accrues to the people of South Africa be more or less? And at this moment, with the mining companies that are run by the state, it suggests that the enterprises that are owned by private citizens are contributing more to the fiscus than the state-owned mining companies.
All right. And finally, ANC.
Just to make the point that the mineral endowments are finite. So at some point they are going to be come to an end. So you need to comprehend beyond just the mine itself. I mean, many of the towns now have been turned into ghost towns, because the primary production has been mining, and primary mining for that matter. And we never considered the entire value chain. I mean, the fact that the contribution of mining is diminishing almost exponentially. Now it's contributing, is the sixth largest contributor to the GDP. It tells you that we need to think beyond mining. So that's the first part to be made. And then the second part to be made is that I don't want to philosophize, just to share with you some of the practical things that are happening in this immediate area. Because it's a largely mining town. One is that you need to diversify the economy, issues around tourism, issues around the Gauteng Game Reserve, so that you are able to find a healthy contribution to the totality of the economy of this area going forward. And then the second part that we are doing in relation to exploitation of this asset that is in this area, which is mining, is this thing called the social labor plan. So the issue is not only about the condition of mine workers, basic services, the infrastructure where they are staying. I mean, you can see this situation in Marikana is shocking, the conditions under which these people are subjected to. So there must be decent housing, proper infrastructure. One of the things that we are doing in this area as we speak, as part of our local mining forum, is that the city together with the community are able to package what we call local economic development initiatives, just to look at what are these other strategic interventions outside mining that can help to create decent employment going forward. And as and when they receive the proceeds from the mines, we are able to invest in those areas going forward. And then the last aspect is what the ANC articulates in its manifesto: the need for beneficiation, because where you beneficiate is where you are creating the most number of jobs. That's where you are able to contribute immensely to the fiscus, and you are able to redirect that money, reinvest it in other parts of the economy. And that's why the ANC makes the point that there's a need to beneficiate and capture the entire value chain, so that you are able to localize employment opportunities. So it's not just about mining, it's significantly higher than mining. So it must not be an obsession about mining. Who owns this? The state owns. So that debate falls flat on its face. It's moribund. People are just given rights to mine. So let's not enter into a debate that does not exist, but look at the conditions of our people going forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you very, very much. Look, we've been going for almost an hour now, and we've covered so many issues. We've gone from e-tolls. Actually, we've gone for an hour, 40 minutes, I've been told. We've gone from e-tolls to Nkandla to the state of the health. We now have to end off. And, job creation is a big issue. As we mentioned, health is a major issue here. Unemployment is a terrible issue. Growth, we heard from the EFF, Nigeria now coming in as the biggest economy within Africa, something in a position we've held for many, many years. And this is the powerhouse. This is the economic powerhouse of South Africa. So obviously Gauteng needs to do something. I want closing remarks from each one of our guests now, and I'm literally giving you each 30 seconds. I know it's a little time, but if I give you 30 seconds, I know you're going to take a minute. So 30 seconds, here we go. Freedom Front Plus, let's begin with you, please.
Well, we want to say to the people of Gauteng that we don't believe in unfair taxes. So e-tolls should be abolished. It was born in sin. We believe that the economy must be in Gauteng must be allowed to grow by allowing free enterprise to work without government intervention. We believe that minorities are being discriminated against through policies like affirmative action and BEE. We see that the coloured people and the white people and the Indian people are becoming more and more worried about the fact that they are being kept out of workplaces. And we are saying we're the only party who supports minority rights. And if you support us, we will carry those values and your case into the new government in Gauteng once we form a coalition, because we are sure that the ANC will get below 50% at the end of the day. We will get rid of discrimination based on colour and racism, and we will make sure that the economy grows in Gauteng, so that it also grows for the whole country as a whole, because Gauteng is the most important economy. It is the heart of South Africa's economy, and it must be protected. So we will fight for those rights, and we will carry it into a new coalition government going forward.
Okay, good. Coalition has been a very, very big point that you've been making all morning. Cope, you interested in a coalition as well?
Yes,
and final remarks at the same time.
Yes, we believe that is the future of governance in South Africa. Coalition is the future. What we want to say as the Congress of the People is that we are ready to govern in Gauteng. We are going out. We're not going to get anything less than 12%. What we want to humbly request the voters to do is to go and make their mark against us. We believe that anything stands and falls with the leadership. With the leadership that we currently have, that is in governance, the country and Gauteng is not going anywhere. We need to go and make sure that we get effective leadership in governance, and we need to go and get governance itself in order, so that we can have more accountability, so that we can have a government that is reliable, so that we can be able to root out corruption and people can benefit more. The quality of the lives of the people can improve.
Okay. EFF, closing remarks. Also, are you interested in a coalition? You're claiming 3 million votes. What happens if you don't get them?
No, we're not interested in coalition.
No coalition for you.
We're going to be government.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be government.
Okay, closing remarks, quickly.
And that is what, look, the liberation movement has brought political freedom in South Africa, and were given 20 years to improve the living conditions of the people. They've dismally failed to do so. More than 25 million people in South Africa are still living below the poverty line. More than 7 million people in South Africa do not have jobs, and they are capable of working. So you've got a crisis of poverty, which is caused because of the unemployment levels and the inability of the current ruling party to redistribute the economic resources properly. So the opportunity has been given from 1994 and now. Only 5 million jobs happened because the population grew by more than 10 million people. And you have got people who are saying they're going to create 6 million jobs. Actually, they say 11 million jobs by 2030. That is not going to happen because there's no decisive action, there's no decisive political party which is ready to take the economic resources in South Africa and redistribute them equitably. It is only the economic freedom fighters which is going to take the mineral resources, to take the land, and make sure that we've got a food economy that employs as many people as possible, and we've got industries that are created out of sustainable minerals beneficiation and industrialization to create millions of jobs. So now it is the time to have economic freedom, and the EFF is the only party that can bring that about.
All right, Floyd. All right, DA. Okay, silence. All right, let's do this quickly. DA, very quickly, closing remarks.
Thanks very much. If South Africans are happy with the government that builds Gandla, if South Africans are happy with the government that builds e-tolls, if South Africans are happy with a government that wastes 30 billion rand annually, then they know who to vote for. But if South Africans want jobs, if South Africans want assistance to small businesses, quality education, quality healthcare, they must vote for the DA.
Good, thank you. And finally, the ANC.
Well, twice the number of people are now in universities compared to 1994. We've got 16 million people on social grants to provide relief so that the poor can sleep on a full stomach. We've been able to create 4 million more additional jobs. Over 20,000 young kids are receiving food parcels at schools. We have been able to ensure that we've been able to ensure that 92% of our people have got access to potable water, and that's why we are asking on the 7th, give us that vote. We don't take it for granted. We want 100% of our people to have dignity and a better life.
All right, that wraps up our debate here in Gauteng. All right, everybody. Thank you for your support. Thank you to all of the political parties that have gathered here. Now, Ayanda is actually in Sharpeville this morning. Let's